Fire did a fantastic job, as they always do, responded and were able to get eyes on scene, identify what we had in the trains rails. There were 95 train cars in total, 22 of which we believe have derailed. We have established that 3 of those cars are leaking, and I'm going to allow the fire chief in a moment to talk a little bit about what was in there and what risk there is to the public. But I'll tell you, there really is no risk to the public. We have everything very well contained. There is no traffic closures at all outside of just the small area just outside the village here in the cane warehousing area. Nobody is in harm's way at this moment. We have a unified command set up between our agencies and the Canadian Pacific Railroad. They are already on scene. Canadian Pacific Police are on scene. Their supervisors are on scene. So we're very fortunate. Fortunate again that this is not an Amtrak train. As you know, we did have another train derailment just over 2 years ago, July 4th of 2023. Again, that was not an Amtrak train. Very fortunate. I will tell the media that I have had conversations with supervisors that have shown up on scene and expressed my concerns that we've had 2 in 2 years. We need to make sure that this doesn't happen again, and they need to take some steps to either reduce speed limit or change some below grade designs. So we'll see what they do, but we can't have this continue. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the fire chief to talk a little bit about the train itself and the hazardous materials that are on board. Chief?
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon. My name is Eric Howlett, CLR Fire Chief. As the Sheriff said, we were paged at 2:04 this afternoon for a train derailment. He said 22 cars have derailed, confirmed. I was just on radio with my deputy. It has gone north of 30 cars right now. Hazmat is currently on scene. We've been working with emergency management from Dodge County and mitigating the cars that are currently still leaking. There are no immediate hazards to the community. CP Rail, we are working with them on setting up some air quality monitors around the area. The one resident that is on Danville Road down on the dead end where we are currently staged, voluntarily evacuated, pretty much followed the procedures we did 2 years ago when we had this derailment. The train was carrying, as the Sheriff mentioned, over 90 cars, was carrying all crude oil. The crude oil was contained to the cars that were leaking, and there's been nothing that has leaked past the point outside of the tracks. Both sets of tracks from the aerial shots that we have currently right now are completely demolished, and CP Rail is currently mobilizing to come into the scene to take care of the tracks and rebuild the area. So at this time, like you said, there is no current threat to the general public. We're going to monitor that throughout the next couple hours, working with emergency management along with CP Rail, and give any updates as needed throughout the night. At this time, we'll take any questions.
A couple things, yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
I do want to stress to the community that the railroad tracks are private property. They belong to the railroad. It is not open for anybody just to walk down railroad tracks to see what's going on, to take pictures, and anybody who is found on those tracks could be cited or arrested for trespassing. So we ask the public to please stay out of the area, allow our emergency crews to do what they need to do so that they're not getting in the way. But even if there wasn't a derailment, you can't be walking on or near railroad tracks on their property. So please stay clear of that so we don't have any of those issues. I have my staff out there watching. Canadian Railroad Police, Canadian Pacific Railroad Police are out there as well, monitoring that. So with that, again, the community is safe, and we are certainly open to answer any questions that you have.
Any idea what caused it?
At the current time, we are looking at it, potential that the track did split again. Too early to tell at this time. There'll be an investigation on it, but it's currently right in the same area as the last time that happened 2 years ago.
Are the tank cars, are they leaking at this minute?
Currently at this minute they are leaking. We are actively working on mitigating that right now. The hazmat team is out there on scene. We have multiple resources down there. We did deploy our CLR hazmat card and called in multiple outside agencies to assist with this. As I said, Dodge County Hazmat, Sheriff's Department, CP Rail. So yes, we are currently working on mitigating that as we speak.
Is there an estimate on how long cleanup efforts will take?
Currently, right now we don't have that, but in the past when we did have that 2 years ago, within 24 to 48 hours the tracks were back open and they were going live. They're currently mobilizing all of their equipment to the cane warehousing area at this time. As the Sheriff mentioned, and for the public that is tuning in here, please stay clear of the scene. let the workers do their jobs right now, as well as the rail.
Additionally, with this being a shared track with Amtrak, it is a federal response. So obviously, with it being a federal response to get this open, it is a priority for them. They've got a lot of passenger trains that are now stopped. So I would imagine that this will be a quick response. The one good thing that we have this time that we didn't have the last time is that no highways are blocked. Last time, Main Street here in Reeseville was blocked off for, I believe, till about 11 o'clock at night. So I would imagine, and they had things open up relatively quickly last time. It was impressive. I would say they most likely will have most of this cleaned up, well, not cleaned up, but a good chunk of it done by morning. They work very, very quickly on these.
I want to make sure I understand then, so Amtrak schedules are being impacted by this?
Absolutely.
Correct.
Yes. This is a major line that runs from Milwaukee up to Minneapolis. Any other questions?
And you said it's now more than 30 cars hit the rail.
That is correct. We just confirmed that before we walked into the press release today.
Confirmed how many?
North of 30 right now, probably 31, 32, that's what we're still counting. They're still working on the scene as we speak.
Do you know an estimate of how much oil has leaked and what the potential could be for how much could be in the area before this gets patched up?
At the current time when we were listening, I was listening to radio communications. They were talking approximately a gallon a minute, but I know they're working on plugging those cars as we speak.
And so you don't have any idea how much has leaked?
Not at the current moment, no. Emergency management is still assessing that.
And where exactly is it leaking?
So the cars that are leaking currently, there are 2 or 3 of them that were actually punctured from when they went and the tracks punctured through them. And there's multiple cars that are laying on their sides, on the roof, and they're leaking from the top of the car.
And that's into the ground or
At the current moment, yes. And last time, like we said, when that did happen, they will mitigate the scene as well as working with any hazardous materials that have seeped into the ground. Any other questions?
You just said it is crude oil. That's what's.
100%. Yep.
When we were out there, I noticed a potent smell. Does that have anything to do with it?
What were you north of the scene, south of the scene?
Just in town here. Just right now.
Yeah, no, probably not, because most of these cars are down the tracks, almost probably a mile, mile and a half away from here. Yep, correct. Anyone else? All right.
I'd like to thank
Thank you.
all of the other agencies that came to assist us. Dodge County Emergency Management is here. We've got fire departments from all over the area. I'm not going to start naming them because I don't want to miss them, but we had a huge response, and they all came very, very quickly. The residents of Dodge County can be very proud of the emergency response, particularly in this case, fire and EMS. For how quickly they got here and were able to contain this situation. And I want to thank all of those individuals for all the work that they did. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And from this point forward, any additional information will be coming from Canadian Pacific, not from either of our entities. Have a great day.